Okay, before we go further, I want to mention one thing that we mentioned yesterday. We said yesterday, even those people that sit when they put on the hand tefillin, but the bracha, they have to say standing. And we discussed, because all brachas and mitzvahs, it says in halacha, you have to stand, including by tefillin. What's interesting, in Siddur, the Alter Rebbe, not in Shulchan, but in Siddur, the Alter Rebbe writes that if you put, according to Kabbalah, you put on the tefillin sitting, and the bracha should also be said sitting. So the Alter Rebbe writes, in other words, it's an exception to the rule, basically, that all the brachas and mitzvahs you have to stand when you make the bracha. Okay, we discussed already about covering it, not covering it. Okay, we also discussed where to put the tefillin on. We mentioned yesterday the two places on the head. Okay, next is like this. When you put on the tefillin, okay, first of all, you have to make sure that the straps are on the black side, that they don't turn around. So the only place where it doesn't matter is what hangs down. That doesn't matter if it gets turns around. But on the hand and on the head, it has to be, make sure that they're not twisted, that the black is inside and the lighter black is outside. Okay, now we also discussed that when you put on tefillin, the hand tefillin bracha also goes for the head tefillin. So therefore, we make laniach tefillin. You have in mind, according to those opinions, you have in mind it also goes on the head. Other people make a bracha on the head tefillin, also on mitzvahs tefillin. They say Baruch Shem Kved Malchus Olam Vaad. But therefore, we learned that you have to make sure not to make any separation between the hand tefillin and putting on the head tefillin. That's why we said the custom is you don't even do the fingers yet. You just wrap the 7 times around. You don't put on the fingers yet. Then you put on the head, and then you fix the finger ones. Now even what?
When do they say it?
After they put it on. They can't say in the middle. They're talking. After they put on the tefillin, when it's proper. They make a bracha on the rosh before they put it on properly. Then afterwards, because you have to make a bracha before you do the mitzvah. Then afterwards, right afterwards, they say, once it's on, then they say, Baruch Shem Kved Malchus Olam Vaad. There's a lot of different customs about the wrapping of the tefillin. Okay, how to wrap it. If you make the shin here, some people make the shin here. Some people don't make a shin. They do different, like the Svardim have a different way of doing it with the extended thing over here. Each one of them is holy, and it's all a minig. It's not din. Some wrap the tefillin this way. Some people wrap the tefillin this way. That's already minhag. In fact, to explain this a little bit, it's very interesting. We know there's Rashi's tefillin and Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. We mentioned the difference between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin is the order of the parashiyos in the head tefillin and in the hand tefillin. Right? The hand tefillin is one long scroll with all 4 parashiyos written on them. But the question, what is the order? So Rashi has one order, Rabbeinu Tam has a different order. So the question is, which tefillin did they wear before Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam? Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam lived 1,000 years ago, give or take. At the time of the Gemara, they put on tefillin. The time of the Nevi'im, they put on. Time in the Midbar, they put on tefillin. By the way, while we're at it, there's another interesting thing. If you look at the 4 parashas of tefillin, there's Kadosh Li and V'hoya Kriyacha, that's in Parshas Bay. Then you have Shema and V'hoyim Shemoya. So Shema is in Parshas V'eschanan, and V'hoyim Shemoya is in Parshas Ekev, in the book of Devarim, which was said in the 40th year in the Midbar. Right? That's when Moshe Rabbeinu said Chumash Devarim. So the Rishonim ask, what did they wear for the 40 years in the Midbar? They didn't have Shema and V'hoyim Shemoya yet. So what did they have inside the tefillin for those 40 years? Because they were commanded before they left Egypt, the mitzvah of tefillin. So what did they do in the 40 years in the Midbar? So most of the Shainim hold that they only had 2 parshiyos. In other words, they had 4 boxes in the tefillin, 4 boxes in the tefillin, but only 2 of them were full. One with Kadosh Li Kabachar and V'hoya Kriyacha. In the 40th year, when Moshe Rabbeinu said Shema V'hoyim Shemoya, then they put the other 2 into the boxes, okay, or on the hand tefillin. But the question is, what did they do before Rashi or Rabbeinu Tam? So if you know, the archaeologists, they found in Israel many years ago, they were digging up places, they found, they say from Cheskel, Chizkiah, I think it was, they found one way, some of them were like Rashi, some of them were like Rabbeinu Tam. So basically, what did they do before Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam? So the Rebbe once explained in the Sikha, and he said that before Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, there was no psak halacha how it should be. Why am I saying this? Just like we have today, you can make a shin here, you can make a shin here, you can make different things, and they're all right. Right? They're different minhagim, but they're all right. Before Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, it wasn't paskin yet. It wasn't halachically decided which way it could be. So you were able to put on Rashi, you were able to put on like Rabbeinu Tam, and that's why they found old tefillin, buried Lalom from thousands of years ago. They found tefillin both ways, because then there was no decided way of putting on tefillin. When Rashi came, he passed, this is the way it has to be. Rabbeinu Tam came, his grandson, and said, no, this is the way it's supposed to be. But before that, now it's the same thing with the tefillin. What happens if everybody gets together, what never happened in Jews, and they rule, okay, you got to make the shin here or here. So then everybody would have to do it that way. So before, now you could do it like this, and it's all kosher, it's all good. So the same thing with Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam's too. Before Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, some people did like this, some people did like that. It was all good.
Why do they have to pass it?
Huh?
Why do they have to make a...
Because he said this is the way it should be, Mikana Lahaba. For that time in history came a time when it has to be paskin. No, he just said the 4 parshas. He told halacha l'meshibasina. The question is, what did he tell him? There was different customs until then, and then it was Rashi paskin the way it should be, and Rabbeinu Tam disagreed. There's Raivin Shmusha Rabba, and there's the Gra said, the Vilna Gaon said, if he would put on tefillin, according to all opinions, he would wear 70 pairs of tefillin a day. It's interesting. There was a wedding once in front of, I mentioned this in the past, there was a wedding once in front of 770 of a Chabad Bacher that was the secretary for Agudas Rabbonim, where the Moshe Feinstein was the head of it. The Bais Din of Agudas Rabbonim. And his chuppah was in 770. And the Moshe Feinstein came to be Masada Gedushin. It was Avram Shmuel Levin, his name was, the Chassan. So they arranged that right afterwards, he went into the Rebbe for Yechidus. Right from the chuppah, the Moshe went into the Rebbe. He was there for a long time. They were talking and learning. So the Rebbe asked him if he puts on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. So he said he used to in Europe, but then whatever, the tefillin got lost, and he never, in America, he didn't put on. He was in America for a long time. He never put on because he never found a sefer that would write the tefillin the way he wanted it to be written. So the Rebbe said to him, if I find you a sefer that would do it exactly the way you want him to do it, will you put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin? He said yes. Early the next morning, Ramesh used to get up every morning at 4 o'clock, said tefillin for an hour. It's interesting is, after he passed away, the guys were saying what his order of the day. He said to hold tefillin every day before, early in the morning, first thing. So the sefer the next morning was outside Ramesh Feinstein's house. He told him exactly how he wants the tefillin to be written, and he wrote him, and he started wearing Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. So again, before Rabbeinu Tam and Rashi, you could do like this, you could do like this. It doesn't really matter either way. So then, what?
We're talking about the brachas. So if somebody speaks between Rashi, Yad and Rish, what bracha does he do?
If he talks between Shal Yad and Shal Rosh, not pertaining to tefillin, then he has to make al mitzvahs tefillin on the Shal Rosh. Yeah. If somebody only puts on the shorosh, let's say, God forbid, their hands, whatever, they can't put on tefillin, so they make al mitzvahs tefillin on the shorosh. That's the halacha. No, then you don't say Baruch Shem, because you're not making a second bracha, you're only making one bracha, then you don't have to say Baruch Shem. No. So, now, there's one second. So we learned you're not allowed to talk things not pertaining to tefillin. So now the question is, what happens if you're in the middle of putting on Rashi's tefillin and they come to Baruch Hu, or Kedusha, or are you allowed to stop in the middle of putting on tefillin to say Kedusha Baruch Hu? But that would cause you to make a new brach on the tefillin, because you're talking not pertaining to tefillin. Kedusha and Baruch Hu have nothing to do with tefillin. So in Siddur Al Rebbe writes, because not everybody agrees with this, but in Siddur Al Rebbe writes that you could stop and make a bracha, answer Kedusha, even though that's going to be causing an additional bracha. But the way, so to speak, Torah Shabbal Pei is, you only answer things that you would be allowed to answer in Birchas Krishma. In other words, if they're saying Kedusha, you wouldn't say Nagdishach, just Kadosh Baruch and Yimlech. Things like that. Even though it's causing another brach to be said, you would be allowed to do it, because for Kedusha, you're saying Kedusha. Now, then when you do Kedusha, you have to make another brach on the Shorash, just on Mitzvahs Tefillin on the Shorash. Because again, you were mafsik, you talked, so you have to make a new brach. So now the question is like this. So you put on the Shalyad, then you put on the Shorash, now you fix the fingers, okay? So are you allowed to talk before you make the fingers? So there are opinions that say you shouldn't talk, but our meaning is that we do talk. The Rebbe spoke, the Rebbe said parts of davening before he made the things on the fingers, so obviously it's not pertaining to tefillin. So obviously, and it's brought down in the Rishimah that you're allowed to also. So even though you didn't make the fingers, but before you do the fingers, you're allowed to speak, as once you put on the head tefillin, then you would be allowed to talk. Okay, next. Even the three around the finger, there are different ways of doing it. Some say you do one at the bottom, then one on top, and in Minhagim it says you put the second one not on top of the bottom one, but next to it. That's what the Rebbe Rashab did. No one said, the Rebbe Rashab did like this, but the Rebbe put one on top of the next.
But then not completely, a little bit.
It's more or less, not like, in Minhagim from the Rebbe Rashab state there, you put it next to each other. But the Rebbe actually put it on top. And many times you saw him going like this. To be, okay. When you take out the head tefillin, you're supposed to take it out with your right hand. You shouldn't take it out until you finish putting on the hand tefillin. In other words, what some people will do, they'll take out the hand tefillin, then the head tefillin, and then they'll put on the hand tefillin. So it says in halacha you shouldn't take out the head tefillin until you finish putting on the hand tefillin. Then you take out the head tefillin. Because then you have, all the various different customs. Now, even with the 7, there's also different customs. Like in Chabad, the Chabad custom is we make a half here, because it's not a whole one, it's a half coming from here. And then we make 2 more and then 4 more, which is 7. And then we make another half when the strap goes to the finger. So you have actually 6 complete ones and 2 half ones. The first one is a half because it's not going all around the hand. It's going straight from the elbow onto the hand. And then the second half is when you put it to go around the hand. So you have 7, but 2 of them are halves. And also, the custom in Chabad is, again, there's a lot of different customs, doesn't matter. The custom in Chabad, we do 1, a little space 2, and a bigger space 4. So we have 1 space, 2 space, and then 4. So that's, again, just a minig. It's not, if you don't do it that way, it's fine, 100%. And then afterwards you take the leftover strap and you wrap it around the hand, and then you tuck it in at the bottom. The Alter Rebbe in Siddur says the expression "b'yikshe." The kasha is, what does he mean? You have to actually make a knot or just tuck it in, but whatever. It means what it means. Okay, you should make sure there's nothing separating the tefillin and the hand. L'chatchila. Okay, but one thing, by the way, you do need to do is make sure that when you wrap it in straps, one strap should not overlap the other one, because then you don't have one.
So, speaking of the tucking in, so if you do the yad, and then you wrap the 7, then you wrap it right in your hand, is it okay to tuck it in then, or do you leave the strap before you put the rosh on?
No, you don't do the hand, you don't do the hand at all. You do the 7,
Yeah.
you don't do the hand yet. Then you put on the shorash.
Oh, you don't even go around?
No.
Okay.
Then you do the shorash, then you do the hand.
So if you wrap it around here, just leave it dangle.
Some people wrap it, some people will just leave it dangled. Whatever. Either way, it's fine. What?
Say you're in a place where you have to borrow some tefillin, someone else's. You happen to be different. If you're right, there's a lefty tefillin there. If you're a lefty, there's a right tefillin there. And my question is this: if you don't want to change it now because the owner of the tefillin now is the fear of
Yeah, but you can't put it on, and if you're, let's say you're lefty, let's say you're left-handed, you have to put tefillin on the right hand? Because you're borrowing a right-handed tefillin, you can't put it on your left hand. You would not be yaitza. You would not be yaitza the mitzvah of tefillin.
because it's a right tefillin.
What you could do, you can use a righty tefillin, you have to turn it away that,
The
yeah.
question is if you're able to.
It's not such an, you could switch it, but you can't put it on the other hand. You know, just because you have a right-handed person's tefillin, you can't put it on your left hand. If you're a left-handed person, needs to put it on the right hand.
Would you be upset if you put it on the correct hand where the tefillin should go on, not your hand? Like, I mean, not your dominant hand, but the hand with the.
No, if you're right-handed, you have to put it on the left.
Right.
If you're left-handed person, you have to put it on the right.
If you do reverse, it's not great.
If you do it reverse, if a left-handed person puts it on his left hand when he's supposed to put it on his right hand, he's not yaitz the mitzvah. No.
So if you don't have the right here.